welcome to another Elevated Education class. In today's video, I'm going to be teaching you a couple of different ways that you can do point cutting. Now, point cutting is a really great way to add texture into your haircut. It's super modern, it's really easy, and it doesn't disturb your haircut. So, I'm going to go into the first type of point cutting, and that one is going to be a deep point cutting. Now, the purpose of a deep point cutting is to basically blend the lines that you have created with your layer when you're going in there and cutting wet. So I probably would never do this on wet hair. None of the point cuttings that I would do on wet hair, besides maybe one of them, which I'll tell you about. But this one, the deep point cutting, and you can do it in whichever way that you have taken your original section. So for myself, I've done a little bit of a rounder layer on this mannequin. So a deeper point cutting, you can take a bigger section if you'd like, and you're gonna hold it in the same manner as you have cut the hair, and you're just gonna go in there and you're gonna open your scissors and you're gonna go in deep and you're gonna close your scissors and come back out. And this is really designed to remove weight. And as you can see, I'm already removing a lot. So this is gonna make the hair very lightweight on the ends. And you can see that I have all of this weightlessness in through the ends. So if you have somebody that has a lot of heavy hair, or that you want to really create invisible layers, this is a really great point cutting for it. So number two, I'm going to teach you is a jagged point cutting. And this one's really going to bring a little bit more texture to the surface of the hair. And you're going to take your section again in the same manner as you did before. And what you're going to do is, instead of going in straight, you're going to tilt your scissors and you're going to go in a jagged, and you can already see that that's leaving me a little bit more of texture on the surface than it did the last one. And another thing you can do if you have a lot of hair to play with, you can go in the opposite direction and do another jagged. So you're creating little kind of like valleys in through the hair. And as you can see, that creates a little bit more of a visible texture. And this really comes to life when we wave the hair. So if somebody wears their hair very straight, or if they have straight hair, I would not recommend this type of point cutting. I would probably stick with a deeper point cutting because this is a very visible, texture-based type of technique. The third one I'm going to teach you is a feathered one. And this one I really love for long hair, because people that have long hair, they want their hair to be weightless and flowy. Probably wouldn't do it too much on shorter hair or bobs, but I'm going to show you anyways on what I got. So what I like to do is grab my section in the same way, and I'm going to bend my finger kind of into a fist, and I'm going to feather the hair out. And this kind of spreads the hair out a little bit more, and I'm going to go in there and kind of go midway. Not so deep like I did the deep point cutting, but I'm going to go kind of like a quarter of the way in there. And you can see that that just kind of feathers everything and makes it really nice and soft. So you can still see it in through there, but it's not completely invisible. And that's why I like to use it on longer hair. This fourth technique I want to show you is the shallow point cutting. Now this one's a really, really great one to use if you want to create that soft, blunt texture. Now when we're cutting blunt, we're cutting straight, and that can create a very stacked effect. But when we're going in there with a shallow, soft point cutting, this can create tiny little edges on the end of the hair, so that the hair just kind of slightly moves, but it still keeps a lot of its strength that you've created throughout the haircut. So I'm going to show you on more of the perimeter, because that's probably where I would use it the most, is in the perimeter area, or even in the bangs if you are doing a tiny little like blunt bang and you want to go in there and create that little like soft blunt look. That's a really great time to use this technique. So I would probably do it with my fingers if the hair is really, really long, or if you're feeling comfortable and you can do it without, using your fingers. You can do it with your comb, or you can just do it freehand, however you really are comfortable and versed in. So I'm gonna go in there on an angle instead of going like this, because that's gonna remove a lot of weight, and I don't wanna disturb that line. I wanna just create a little bit of texture. So I'm gonna go in there on a little bit of an angle, and I'm gonna chip away. This is something, actually, what I had mentioned earlier, this is something that you can also do wet. If you are doing a soft, blunt look, you can also go in there and create that really, really tiny little point cuts in throughout. One little tip is keep the moving blade on top and only move your thumb instead of, like, you know, chomping away at the hair with your scissors. So you really want to have a really solid motion. You see that only my top blade is moving and the bottom blade is not moving, and my finger is protected, because I often see a lot of people cut themselves when they're doing point cutting, myself included. So those are the 4 types of point cutting that I wanted to show you. I hope you enjoyed this video, and for more free and premium education, I invite you to visit our library. I have 3 amazing cutting classes on there. One of them is seamless layering. Another one is one that I use a couple of these techniques in an actual haircut. So I invite you to go check them out in our library collection.